Okay, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at Agentcore memory. I'm going to take the simplest example, which I could think of right now, which is the Strands Agent Personal Agent Notebook. We're going to take a look at this. Keep in mind, I'm using PyCharm development environment. I'm running notebooks. I am using a Python virtual environment. And let me see what else. Let me see the terminal. Let me make sure that that I am running in the environment here, my command line. I could also go and check my preferences and make sure that my IDE is pointing to the proper interpreter. So this looks correct. Python 3.14. And the reason is because my virtual environment does have 3.14. So what I just did is I installed the requirements.txt. If you notice the requirements.txt, we have Strands agents, DuckDuckGo search. We have Strands agent tools, package manager, Bedrock Agentcore, and DuckDuckGo search package that's needed, and this starter toolkit. Notice this has a particular version. I think I don't know what that means. When I run this, it's not like I'm doing a force install. I'm pretty much installing. So, well, I don't know what this QR does to me, but if it's, I guess I'm trying to wonder what version of Agentcore I have now. So let's see, starter toolkits 1.19. Bedrock. So it is here. All right, let's not worry about it. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. And let's get back to the notebook. Okay, so we installed. Now we're importing the logging. We're importing the date time from date time. We're setting up the logger, the Python logger, and we're done with that cell. Now here we're getting the region, and we're getting an actor, and we're getting a personal session ID. And we're importing the Strands agent, Strands tool, Strands hooks. Let's see, agent initialize event, hook provider, hook registry, message added event. I like it. And then there's a memory client that I'm retrieving. Okay, so let's execute this. Now I just want to point out what my observation is here. Okay, first of all, the actor ID is a user. And what we're trying to do is determine whether the code, when it runs and it talks to the agent, it could remember the conversation it had with the user, okay? And that uses what is called a session. So if it's the same session and the user keeps talking to the agent, we want to make sure that we understand that whole conversation, because one conversation could be about an order that I didn't receive. Another conversation could be about you know, what is the weather today in Israel or whatever. So the session is important to keep track of what the conversation's all about, and if we're storing anything in memory, then we have to make sure that we're using the proper context, let's say. Okay, that's just my gut feeling here with this demo. Let's see. Here we have our Jupyter variables, and it shows us what we're doing here, which is good to see. Okay, now let's look at this one. This this is, let's just execute it and see if we get it. Okay, this says that the personal agent web search tool is ready. Okay, let's see what it does. Okay, it's importing the DuckDuckGo exceptions and rate limits, and there's a tool here, web search. It's annotated with tool, which comes out of Strands, and there's a keyword string, region, and the max results is 5. Okay, search for the web for updated information. The search query keywords is this string here. And we have the region, we have the max results, list of dictionaries with the search results. Okay, and here we do a instantiate this object, and we do a text search, and we return the results. And notice this is the function, so I'm just defining the function, and so I could use it. Okay, so now this thing is ready. Now here, what I do is I define a client, which is a memory client. Now let's see where memory client came from. Okay, this is the Bedrock Agentcore memory. This we're importing a memory client, and so now we're instantiating that memory client, and we're giving it a memory name, personal agent memory. So let's see, I didn't run this yet. So basically what it's doing is it's creating the memory and waiting. It's giving it a memory name. There's no strategy here, but we'll talk about strategies in a minute. The description is short-term memory for personal agent. Event expire day 7 days. So the bottom line is I could get the memory ID, and I could log the information of the memory ID. And let's just see what we do with that. We don't have an exception. Let's assume we don't have an exception. And let me just run that. Credentials found. It's looking in my credential file for my credentials. So it's extracting my user and credentials out of the credential file. It initialized the memory client for control plane. And now it's using a particular control plane. We're in the west region. I think my credential file points to the west. It's creating the memory, and it gives it the identity personal agent memory, and waiting for active status. Notice it's still running here, so I'm going to wait a little bit. But I just want to point out that this demo seems to be cutting right to the chase, where it looks like we're creating some memory, and the only parameters I have here is my user, the agent. Let's see, what do I have? The memory ID, the session ID, and did I have the agent ID? Let's see. The actor ID is this user. So for this agent, this user that's talking with this session, I've already authenticated. I already have my credentials. It took my credentials out of my credentials file. What it probably is doing, because the user in my credential file is not this user. If it winds up using Cognito, it'll have to create that user, but let's just see what's going on here. So let's see what special it's doing a web search. It's got special variables. Okay, so let's close this. Okay, so now this is finished, and the personal agent created the memory, personal agent memory with an ID. Okay, now let's look at this. This is a memory hook provider. So let's run it and take a look at what it's doing. I'm going to get rid of this because I can't look at two things at once. So let's run this. Okay, so what did this do? This created a class called memory hook provider. And it uses the memory client, the memory ID, and it on agent initialization event, it looks like it gets the actor ID and the session ID from the event. And it's getting the last K turns using that information. So the memory ID, the actor ID, and the session ID, and the fact that we want maybe 5 last interactions, whatever. And here it's iterating through that. And it's showing you the recent conversation here. And we're logging, we're doing some logging here. And on message add, we add a message, actor ID, session ID, some text, and we register hooks. We have a hook registry. And add event, message added, app agent initialized. We add these events. Now let's see what happens here. Here we have we're creating the personal agent. We instantiate it with a name, personal agent. We use Anthropic, and we give it a system prompt. You are a helpful personal assistant with web search capabilities. You can help with general questions and information lookup, web searches and current information, personal task management. When you need to use information, use the web search function. Today's date, be friendly and professional. There's some hooks, memory hook provider, web search, actor ID, etc. And then it returns the agent. So here the agent was created, and now let's try to test it. Test conversion with memory. First conversation. My name is Alex and I am interested in learning about AI. My name is Alex. I am interested in learning about AI. So we're printing this and also telling the agent this information. Now, the agent, when you told the agent this information, the agent now is responding, right? Hi, Alex, it's great to meet you, and I'm excited to hear about your interest in AI. Artificial intelligence is blah, blah, blah. Now, Claude, Anthropic is kind of wordy, but it does format nicely. I do like it. Um, but let's see, did we specify a temperature here at all? No, we didn't. Some common areas to learn about: machine learning, deep learning, natural language, computer vision, generative AI, AI ethics, ways to get started, online courses, books, hands-on things, questions to help guide through learning. Are you interested in theoretical mathematical side or the practical side? Now let's see what the agent did here. The agent result, and here it's just printing the conversation that was had. So it's, what did the user say? What did the agent? How did the agent respond? Blah 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 blah. And basically, now we're going to search for the latest AI trends. The user says, "Can you search for the latest AI trends?" And this is the tool search. It's doing the web search. Great question, the agent says. Here are some latest AI trends emerging. Now notice there's an agent, there's an LLM, and there's the web search. And those are working in conjunction together to give this particular result. What's in the memory is what has transpired based on what the agent and LLM and the web search tool concluded. So here's the trends: a major shift towards AI, blah blah blah, moving the theory into practice. Would you like to learn more specific information about, say, trends? What aspect interests you most? And so here is, looks like the agent result. Let's go see what the agent result. Yeah, this is the agent result. Basically, it's just giving us information. Let's see how it's displaying. This is just the agent result. And let's execute the next one. The user says, "I'm particularly interested in machine learning." That's excellent. The agent says, and it does a web search and it gives the result. Now, basically, I think right here we're displaying results. Now we're creating a new session. Create a new agent instance. Simulates a user returning. Okay, and now we're executing the new agent. We're saying we're printing the user. What was my name again? So let's see what this has to say. It remembers that your name was Alex. The new agent says, "What was my name again?" And then it says, "Can you search for more information about machine learning?" So the user returns the session. The user returns a new session. let's try to see where that happens. And what was my name again? Your name is Alex. You mentioned it at the beginning of our conversation. You said you were interested in machine learning. Is there anything else I can help you with? Can you search more information about machine learning? And the web search, perfect. Here's what I've found about machine learning and information. And it's giving the information that it searched for. Since you're interested in learning about machine learning, this should interest you, blah, blah, blah. Would you like to learn more about specific information? Let me know what direction interests you most. I don't, so it's showing a lot of information here, input and output tokens, I guess. Now let's look at the memory. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the last k turns. This is session ID. And here we're dumping out the memory. So this is the assistant. This is the user, the assistant. So let's see what order we have here. Okay, let's start with turn 3 because it's easier. What was my name again? Your name is Alex. Can you search more information about machine learning? Perfect. Here's what I learned about machine learning. So basically, we're retrieving a conversation. Now let's see. Let's take a closer look at what we did, because I guess I got confused about the session ID. So here we have a session ID and an actor. Here we're doing a web search. Here we're creating memory and waiting. And so here we do have the memory name, the memory ID, but this doesn't, it's not specifying a session. Memory name, days. Now here it created the personal agent memory. Now the agent, so the agent has some memory, and it looks like that when the user talks to the agent, that's when the memory client comes in, where when the agent's initialized, it gets the actor ID and the session ID. So let's think about this. The agent has access to memory, and it's storing certain events. For certain events, when the agent initializes, when hooks execute, it's basically getting the information it needs during these events and setting the appropriate key for the memory that if the agent's talking to a customer, get the actor ID, get the session ID, and if it's missing, we can't use memory. But let's just say that it gets the turns using the memory ID, the actor ID, and the session ID. So and notice when an event is created, it uses the memory ID, the actor ID, the session ID, and because it needs to every time there's an event and we're doing some interaction with the customer, the agent has to store an event if they want to retrieve that event later on. So this is on message added, and it registers the hook whenever the agent's initialized and when the message is added, and we create the personal agent. So whenever a message occurs, then the event is triggered. Okay, so that's all we wanted to show. You should go into this with great detail. I'm surprised. I'm glad that the demo worked, because if you look at other demos, you might need to get access keys and get a Salesforce account or whatever, and it gets to be a little bit time consuming. But when the demo just works out of the box, it's really fantastic. So that's all we wanted to show about memory. Now notice our memory was 7 days, and it was session ID oriented. Just keep that in mind. But you could have a different session and store different messages, events for different sessions. And so, like I said, memory ID, actor ID, session ID, that's just a composite key, right? It's just a composite key. So if you need to get that, you can go and get it. So these things can change: the actor ID, the session ID, and even the memory ID. Okay, so let's see. Let's go back and look at this architecture diagram, because I wanted to take a closer look at this. So basically what happened here is that we had the user give a question. We have a local environment with Strands. And we have a web search going on. We have a tool, web search going on, and it accesses DuckDuckGo, and we externally call Bedrock LLM. I guess it was using my credentials on the desktop to do that. And then there was Agentcore memory, which had some short-term memory, which had some raw events in it. So this is the architecture you have to think about. It's not really, sometimes it's not clear when you're running these demos what's happening, although it should be very clear. But this diagram pretty much shows what we were doing. But Strands can run in the cloud as well and access the LLM, and all of this could be in the cloud except for the external service. And basically, this is what we did here. And Strands is simple. Strands is simple and it's very user friendly, so I could do things like this. It's really good. Let me end the video this way, and thank you for joining. Let's look at the next notebook.